ancient Indian proverb, and it's which wolf are you going to feed? And the extra element that the divine is asking me is the disassociation with only allowing yourself to feed one. What happens to the wolf that's not being fed? That wolf's still hungry. It's ravenous, it's starving, it's gonna eat anyway. And then what are we looking at? We're looking at sneaky, underhanded secrecy. And in the age of Aquarius, it's just not possible to have this secrecy anymore, because you're seeing each of us individually are going to have to embrace all of who we are. I'm trying to put it in this wolf sense than rather come out and say it's sneaky fucks that are just acting like, yeah, we're all good. And then as soon as they think they're not being watched, they're going to go through and that wolf's going to eat anyway. There's a lot of darkness in this world and we can't ignore it, because that serpent that all of us have within, and it's sneakily expressing itself, whereas everybody knows, but it's like, oh, nobody can do anything about it. Well, we're all going to have to collectively do something about it, and it starts with us by accepting we're going to feed this wolf. Otherwise, we're going to pretend that wolf doesn't exist, and it's going to be like a little kid going, I didn't hit that person, but you clearly saw him hit that person. That wolf is there. It's in them. And you love them anyway, because that's a child, and you can say to that child quite easily, I know what you did, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel angry for that. You don't need to hide or sneak the fact that you put that punch in because you were, okay, you did that to avenge yourself, to relieve yourself. I've seen this in so many aspects in life of people who they desperately want to be good, but we're perfect individuals. We're spiritual beings here on earth having human experiences, and we didn't come here just to be all good. We didn't come here to all be Ivan Milat's either. We didn't accept all parts of ourselves, whatever they be, whatever we've been through in our lives. When we say forgiveness, it's like forgiveness is for you, because I know people in my life, I've said, you've got to forgive so you can let it go. And I said, you have to see your parents that truly damaged you as innocent as you're looking at those puppies as your parents, and see like your parents are just as damaged. They went through the same kind of horrible things to become the people that they were, to be able to treat you like that. So, and it's going to keep rolling on until the buck stops somewhere and somebody goes, no, I'm going to heal that trauma and I'm not going to go through those things. You know, there's thousands of souls, women that are lost to violence every year. And I've said this, I keep saying it, and I keep getting shadow banned and this and that. But this one's coming out. This will be seen. There are souls that are light workers, have been released from screaming and echoing through the ages and getting trapped to the earth by being murdered here. There is one woman every week, blah, blah, blah. These are sacrificed souls, a lot of them, under attack. I've been with men that have wanted to beat me, and I behaved like what you would call a Karen. And I have had Darrens in my life that were unable to control their anger towards me because they didn't have that filter that keeps them from doing that type of thing. But what was I doing pushing anybody to that point? But his mother was like, know your place, or she'd been belted actually a fair bit herself. We feel like what we've got to say is important. It is. It's not like the ancient Egyptian times where we were all revered and respected. Jeff Bezos, so I heard that he'd divorced his wife because, you know, it had gone a bit sour and she was just sick of being left alone. You know, she just got put on the shelf, but she actually, he wouldn't have reached those heights without her. And I don't know how to describe that society at the moment, where it's like, oh, the Karens and the this and the that. Not a woman allowed to be in her feminine energy. Say, let's just go on Jeff Bezos and his missus. And everybody was like, oh, and she got to take this amount and she did nothing. You're highly disrespecting the jobs that a woman, we all got screwed in the 1950s or whenever it was that marriage got brought in, and we got called, made the workhorses. We were working 24 hours a day, whereas men had the hard job and had to go out there and earn the big bucks for 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day. And I know there's heaps of men out there that are working their butts off, and the women aren't behaving the way that a divine feminine would and the male isn't, and it's all like money, money, money. It's so finite to everybody, isn't it? Oh, it's just money. Oh, it's so important. We'll kill each other over it. No. You're going to learn some pretty harsh lessons there, and you'll go through lifetimes of it, but you've had those lifetimes. Okay, you come down here, you forget we have light workers across the planet are freeing these trapped souls. And I'm going back to what I was saying about the souls that get sacrificed in the most ways. So we're talking car accidents, we're talking energies that, like, somebody will be, you know, doing something quite normal, but they'll die in a car accident because something unusual happens spiritually, and it is a spiritual thing, because there are entities and energies and sacrifices made to feed particular energies that are no longer going to be able to exist on this earth, because Gaia's vibration is raising, and it's got nothing to do with that Schumann resonance that is being sent down by the Galactic Federation. Have got stuff to do with it, anything. But we don't do that to women to stop them from being outspoken. Women shouldn't have to get to the point where they feel like they need to get into their masculine energies. But it's also a lot of this baby boomer. I don't know. I just know that in my granddad's day, there wasn't as many men hating women or being jealous of or wanting the position of a woman who's able to go out and get a boob job and just get looked after and blah blah blah, and gone out of their way to make sure that the women they were with didn't do that, or didn't have the smarts to do it. I know I didn't. I didn't think to go take advantage of a man. The men that I truly fell in love with fully humbled me, and in the most derogatory ways as well. But it also, I mean, going through that kind of situation did make me know my worth. But it was also a little disappointing that I didn't know my worth before that. But if I hadn't been put through situations where I had it all, I had all the money in the world and life was going good, going to restaurants thinking that I was in bit, and just not giving a shit about money, because I always knew I was going to have it. Like, it's a non-problem. I've always been looked after by God. Yes, does that sound weird? With my parents, whatever, spoiled little bitch. No, yeah, no. Like, I was always made to feel like I couldn't produce, I couldn't do this on my own, and then finding out later that I've got massive manifestation energies. And I saw an actress who I used to smoke pot with her when we worked at a category years ago. And she lived up in Port Melbourne, and she was getting treated like shit by her boyfriend at the time. And I remember thinking, her mother was, you know, very, very well off. And possibly what I'm being guided to know is she's still got black around her eyes. She's still probably smoking a pot. you know, and in the same kind of situations, because there's no avenues to actually get out when there's a lot of spell work and pressure for her to stay where she is, because there's actually people making money from her energy, keeping her trapped in low vibrational energetic state so they can take advantage of her vibrational essence, which is uh, able to produce a lot. And there are businesses being run off women's energy that are being made to feel worthless and blocked from true soul tribe, true uplifting energies. You've got to be able to find that within yourself, and you've got to have that true support in the ticker to be able to I saw her and I knew the truth. We were having cocaine with our boss at a cattery back when we were 18, 19. And then he said one day to one of us, it's the end of the summer coke. I said, well, maybe we should go give it to the husband and wife team you got hired out there. Let's call them in for the last of the summer coke too, because we weren't doing anything grotty to get that coke. You know what I mean? It was just like, last of the summer coke, what does that mean? Obviously one of his mates had said, you know, you get something out of those girls, you're giving them coke and Gatorade. But it was so much fun. We'd run around and we'd look after all the cats, thinking we'll eat in a bit. And then I'd go work in nightclubs in the city at night and just drink alcohol. But I've been on cocaine during the day. It didn't make any sense. It was totally reverso weirdo world. But it was always surrounded by drugs living in Melbourne. There was no other way. It was escapism. And I am not alone. There's a whole scene out there. There's many people that are no longer on drugs and have been able to move into happy families and do this and do that. And they are different kind of people. And that's great. But there are certain energies that have been pushed down and the respect levels just been removed from them, and it's all been done under spell work, so you can't even see these people as people anymore. I know that friend groups that I used to have don't exist to me anymore, and they can't see what's happened to me or couldn't see me while it was happening to me, and I could have died. And I would have been one of the souls screaming on earth, because it was planned to be torturous. So we're talking, these manifesting abundant souls are being stopped from activation because they've got big purposes here on the planet. So say, I know other souls that are being stuck, put in mental hospitals and all sorts. And look, there are energies, and these are not people, these are energies that will work through people who don't hold sovereignty within themselves. So if you don't hold sovereignty, you can be used by other energies, basically. And it's like I'm channeling the divine in this moment to be able to express these energies, because there are a lot of blocks and things like that that try to stop me from speaking this stuff. Is it because I'm crazy and I'm saying way out there stuff? Look, to a lot of people, it is going to be way out there crazy stuff. And if I wasn't guided by the divine to know it, to say it, and in saying it, I'm actually changing it, I'm transmuting it, because these situations cannot exist once you know about them. If you know these situations are no longer going to be happening, it's not just that my girlfriend loved being on the pot and loved getting treated like shit by men. No, she yearns for respect herself, and her mother's a highfalutin that belongs to one of the societies and has actually sold her energy off to someone else. This happens, and it'll be, there'll be always going to be that one black sheep in the family, isn't there? Or sometimes in other cases it'll be two that are stopped, and it's not understood. what happens with these older families as well, you'll find that there's always a story going on about the black sheep. It's not the black sheep. That's the pack horse. That's the one that gets to carry all the karma of the family. But always, what you're going to notice with these baby boomers, and sorry, I'm telling you secrets, oldies, but we're not going to do it like you did. There's going to be truth, complacency. We're not going to say this about this one and this about this one, so we don't even want to talk to our brothers and sisters. We're not going to do that, separate, divide and conquer, because every baby boomer family, there's separation within brothers and sisters, and really if they got together and just went, you guys are bound done in a minute. But you're smart enough, or would you call it smart enough, evil enough, to have ensured that you've put wedges in between the relationships of your children. People in my family, these are energies and entities that have been running through. These are generational curses that are going to be broken and need to be broken. Because when my children grow up, I want to see them being like Tate and his brother, where they're working together. There was a decision made, and they live in compounds and they support each other, and it's why our cultural diversity is so successful over here in Australia, because you'll find that they're doing similar things like that. They're coming over from countries like India, Afghanistan and things like that, and they're creating communities, all of them brothers in a family compound, and they've got a family compound and everybody works together. Now, isn't that going to be better than all us tight-ass Aussies that are, happy to stab each other in the back for $1? Like, that is so finite thinking. We are spiritual beings having a human existence. You've got thousands of lives. Those people jabbing to get the cash, I'll have to repeat. The life cycle be repeat. I saw my grandma get reborn basically straight away. Absolutely freaked me out when I realized one of my children just had her exact demeanor, but it was also the way she died. She was scared of death. You've got nothing to fear when we pass over. And this is only a message that I'm receiving, and also just information I have heard from other people. You will know that there is God when you do pass over. You'll know when it's your time to pass over, and there's nothing to fear. And that's why I truly wanted to be with my grandmother in her final hour, when she was passing over, and I was there the first time she got put in hospital, but she didn't even die. And I was like, why is she in there? Let's get her out. And it was kind of, I made her live on for a bit longer, but I didn't. She wasn't in there dying. It was just, they decided she was dying because they blew all this air. Anyway, the evilness though, there was a woman that left my grandmother sitting in her own piss after she put the thing down, and she gave me a grin while she stood there at the meeting, and I had to get another lady to take the thing. And I should have added that, like, because I'm the type of person that would be like, are you grinning at me because you left my grandmother laying in urine? This was in Berwick. But see, that's the hatred within, and she just didn't like me because the life she lived in comparison to what I was living. I was just a young chick who thought her grandma was going to die, and I don't know what, she was an immigrant. I don't know what she'd been through to cause that kind of hatred, but fuck, man, I've copped that from not just her. I have copped that from so many people, and it's unjust and it's unfair and it's disgusting, that kind of behaviour. You want to laugh at me because you left my grandma sitting in piss, like smile at me like, yeah, fuck you. Like, that ain't a first. Like, there are some real pieces of work on this earth, but it's also like the damage that must have been within her, that she was able to get some sort of satisfaction out of that. It's a bit sore. But Do I seem like one of those ladies that's white privileged because I got brought up believing I was trash? Okay, and that's why I have to wear filters to feel better, and it does make me feel better to wear a filter. So fuck yo, I'll wear a filter, and if I don't feel like wearing a filter, I won't. But it's for me. Know that. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. It's for me. And also because these cameras are weird, like I look like a new person every time in them anyway, so, and that's with or without a filter, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter how I look, it's the message that I'm putting across. And to even give a shit about how you look when you've got, but that's why there's heaps of us across the earth at the moment that are being blocked, that are being stopped, that are, you know, when I've released the information about the violence against women, they go do this protest against women, 10,000 strong, and I can't even get 4 people to watch the truth of a video of a real reality that has been happening and could save possibly 50%, you know, of all violence against women. If it was just, look at it, people. Look at it for the reality of what it is. These people's souls have been sacrificed. I've got a girl we went to school with. I went to primary school with her, and my sister-in-law, I think, went to high school. She went to high school with her, but I've got her energy coming in saying that she was sacrificed energy as well, and she died of a car accident, but her soul's been freed. But some of us come here with illnesses and things like that. These are all choices we make, because we can look at, I notice a soul friend, like he's also, I think he's worked against me because of energies I've had in my life that have been blocking me, that have made sure that I've been unable to connect with my soul tribe. My origins go back to intergalactic high priestess, and I know of others. I know of the high priests. I know of intergalactic high priests and stuff like that. And you know why you've been so oppressed, or why you've been put in these little boxes by very small-minded individuals who are living a very finite kind of religious set. A lot of the witchery and the magic and the fuckery with real divine beings that actually come down from the stars and have been sent by God and sit with God, and the jealousy is real. They sit in religious sects and create witchery and stuff like that. And as the Jehovah's Witness, I had a lady come and give me a card and apologise to me, and then they went and stood on the corner and did everything on a full moon to try to hold me back again. You know, like, you will pay for that. And as I said at the time, any energy sent to me will be returned to you in kind, like whether that's good or bad. You don't get to go around doing that anymore. That's been happening to me all my life. You go plant the seeds, and go plant the seeds, try to get life going, and this will be the same that's happening to the girl that I was in the cattery with as well. You go plant the seeds, you're getting your life going, and then these fucks come and rip it up. She's also affected by that, and we just look like these half attractive, like, white bitches that, you know, need to be stomped on by other people that we intimidate by existing. It's been real weird, real weird, especially when you come onto the international stage and you're getting treated badly by women across the other side of the world that are finding you to be an enemy. And it's like, I'm just trying to be nice, you know. And it was funny because I was looking at my energy, because I see energy, I see auras, and I see the colors of people's auras. And that's the thing, even when I'm getting this rejection that I've copped it all my life, so it's no big deal to me. It's like, the truth of the matter is, I am, one of my missions here on earth is to show up as the full expression of who I am and get people to meet me, but people can only meet me as deeply as they've met themselves, whereas I can meet them as deeply as I've met myself, and that's not always going to match up. And in those situations where they've been given that opportunity, they'll get it again, and it won't necessarily be with me. But the ones that I'm really karmically tied to, there's energies that aren't going to rest until that's been rectified between our energies, which is really ironic. And it's not from me directly, but I'm seeing imbalances caused by others that have created rifts in relationships that shouldn't have been there. Those things are going to need to be mended, and it's going to. So it's like with this soulmate that's gone and thought I was the worst thing ever, because one of my handlers, handlers, I can't even believe I've got to say that, but yeah, I had a handler. She hung around for 20 years, but she was paid to be there to be destruction to my life. To actually realise that after 20 years, I mean, the only reason I found out was because another handler wanted me to be isolated from everybody and have no friends, which turned out to be the best thing ever. But to keep everybody away now, purposely, by, so say, there's this guy who's a warlock. He called himself a natural warlock. And I was like, yeah, it turns out I'm a natural witch. I had no idea. Like, it's just been something I've always been able to do, but in a very earthly way. Like, I never go out there trying to hurt anybody, but my guides, my team, my protectors, the divine, the underground, they will steamroll a motherfucker, and they have, and they do, and that's going to happen for galactic high priestesses. And some of us say we don't believe in star seeds, and that's cool. Maybe you're an earth one, but there are intergalactic ones down here as well that have been treated pretty shit and silenced a lot. And it's so cool when you're able to see, like, there's that that council that Trump speaks of, the 144,000 healer, a tarot reader that is one of the greatest and one of the most uplifting people that needs to be seen, and she will be as New Earth unrolls. She expressed that 144,000, I know personally it's a frequency, and we're going to have to reach that, and that's the heart being weighed and being able to move back up into the heavens. We are apparently all down here because we fell. We fell from grace and we're down here. However, whilst that's nice to think that, yeah, we're down here in hell, because it isn't hell. The potential for this to be a utopia is here. It's here, and it's going to happen. And there will be a division. There will be people you'll never see again, and they will perish, because basically Gaia is going to want to recycle the energies of those that aren't moving up in frequency with her. And you're going to see all the, I know I'm jumping from here to here a bit, but you're just going to have to bear with me, or don't. You don't even have to listen to my drivel. This is just information I'm divinely receiving and have been guided to pass on. And it's hard work to get these messages out to you guys. So plenty of tarot energies. Also, the devil in reverse. This means healing. So that's a healing card. And for those people within the church that don't like divination and stuff like that. We don't like your spell work, Jehovah's. We don't like being blocked from our purposes. We don't like being drug addicts or drunks or being able to be labeled prostitutes or sluts or strippers or having low self-esteems because y'all thought that you could pay people off and be able to do this shit to good-hearted people. I forgive, but you're seen, and you're going to be seen by many, and you're going to provide in this life. You're going to compensate the women that you have done this to. And I have footage of everyone's face who did this on my corner, and I'm not the only girl you've done it to. I'm not the only girl who has been held down since they were a ridiculous age. You know, like I got babysat by 2 gay men or 6 months old. Why? Why did I scream the entire time from the time that I got left until then? For some reason, I was the little girl that cried at school camp. I truly don't want to see that happen to any of my children, because what that is, when you're crying at school camp and you can't be away from your parents, you've got massive abandonment issues. Like, I actually thought I was very loved as a child. I don't understand what all the extra was, because I did have a pretty good childhood. You know, like my parents weren't cruel to me. I mean, I always was looking out the windows going, come and get me, come and get me, take me to my real family. But I don't think that was much different from much of the kids when I was younger. You know, me and a few girlfriends were a bit like that. Our mums had it hard, and some of them were having kids, popping them out at 20, and others were popping them out at 30. But our mums seem to think that they sacrificed something to give birth to us, whereas we've got to be very grateful to these mothers in some ways, because as mothers ourselves, we haven't had to feel that we're sacrificing a part of ourselves or a future that we wanted that we can't have because of having children, because we had them too young. Like, I was never going to be allowed to be my South Node. That's Capricorn energy. That's being famous. That's South Node is where you originally are. I've got information that there are Capricorn South Nodes across the planet that haven't been able to step into that power. Do you know what I mean? And sorry if you're feeling the effects of that now. No fucks were given, and it ain't from us directly. Don't ever think that. But until balance is restored, there's going to be, you're going to need to do something. And I don't think it's your fault. I truly don't. But you need to look at something from a different point of view, because it's been very disrespectful. And some of us out here, the collaboration that we've got with other realms, with our ancestors, with God himself, that actually divined us to come down here on mission, that we answered the call, got off our spaceship straight away, which is bizarre. But we've got this kind of memory and being able to access, because part of my work and what I do is with the deep clearing protocol, we've been able to peel back layers and request that our divine blueprint, individual divine blueprint, so that means what was agreed to before we came down to earth. And a lot of us are primordial energies that have been here before. So many energies that think that they can attack primordial energies. And to get a little more woo-woo for all y'all, the Titans have returned to the earth, and that's The power that Hecate has got across the planet is being used for this. It's not being used to harm anyone. Just want to make that clear. So people who have been able to use Hecate's energies and they're thinking that they're taking something from somebody else or harming somebody else, just to give you the heads up, you're not. You'd have to walk a mile, or actually a lifetime, probably 5 to 10 lifetimes, to be able to advance as much as the energies that you're trying to interfere with. And that Hecate would allow you to do that at the crossroads. She does have a lot of love for you, though. The higher ups on this earth harvest energy from women like my friend who I worked at the cattery with. But it doesn't give you the right to disrespect women that you're around. And this goes for all men that have really got that mummy wound. We've got them too. We're women and we've got those mummy wounds as well, because it's pretty hard to be a perfect mum or a perfect dad when you didn't have that model too, but you can try your best. But anyway, but for some reason I was listening to some chick who, amazing spiritual woman, was getting attacked in a forest and her name got yelled out and she was able to escape up in a tree, but her name got yelled out by the woodland spirits because there was no adult around that could have yelled her name, but the man that was trying to chase her up the tree and attack her ran, but the woodland spirits screamed out. I heard her speaking today, and I was like, wow, like, because you could feel the honesty and the truth of her situation and what she'd been through. And she said something about you can tell by looking at a man's belly fat if he's got mummy issues. I was like, whoa. So if he doesn't have belly fat, he doesn't have mummy issues? I don't know. Going to have to get that woman to elaborate on that and see the logic behind it. Because if it's true in her world, it's true for her. Doesn't mean it's true for all of us, does it? And it's like with what I'm saying, okay? It's true for me, doesn't mean it's true for you. Flame. And the violet flame, this could be used by not only light workers, but anybody. So if there's any energies that you want to burn off or burn away from yourself, use this, the violet flame, to be able to do so. And may any cloaks or unless God's put them there. Oh, but any cloaks on my energy or any blocks on any of my social media accounts. I was watching myself on a social media account. I was like, oh, fucker, you know, because of the energies that have been placed there that have stopped me from being able to show myself, or I don't know, be myself. Maybe I was being myself and I'm pissing myself off. Like, I'm actually very personable. Stepping through. Just be yourself. Obviously, I'm not one of the conventional spiritualists that went and learned it all in a school. I just have divine knowledge because of the spiritual warfare, I guess, and the spiritual experiences I've had since I was a child. My first encounter with real demonic energies wasn't brought on by myself. It was when I moved into a new home, and a lady, a Jehovah's Witness, turned up at the front door and yelled at me that I was going to hell. And that night I had demonic energies. Like I was running around my bedroom and I could only find 4 walls. Like I couldn't find a door. And I was so frightened as a child. They would have been thriving. Don't be scared. Like, that's one thing that I have learned. Just with the energies of other worlds that we can't see with the eye, that I have always been subjected to and not spoken about, I guess. But just stoicism. Give them nothing. Like, don't go, I'm so scared, because they're like, yeah. Or, yeah, don't feed them. Just be like, do you know what I heard once? And this is mind-boggling, because you can't make wings that make that sound unless we're talking a full-size person, angel, giant bird. Because I heard it try to be replicated after I told the story, because this is gang stalking, humiliation, fuck off. But anyway, like how they had people turn up at my door in black outfits with a gun on Halloween, because I'd talked about the original kid who came up to my door wearing the black tracksuit and the crappy, you know, turning up at my door when I was young. You know, they like to recreate things. This bird flapping outside I was sitting outside having a cigarette, and I was like, wow, like these wings were like, not like a big owl that I heard a couple of weeks ago after the first time I told this story to somebody. Nah, I'm talking like wings so big it had to be. I don't know what it was, because when I recognized that it was my higher self, I'm like, well, angels, angles of light, angels, fallen angels. Are we fallen angels? Because we've fallen, we've got to reach back up to that 144. And apparently there's 144 of us in our soul tribes, and we've got to, but there's also the 144 soul tribe. You just got to find your own truths there. There's going to be things you hear and they're going to sound right to you, or they're not. And until I've really worked out how I feel about all that, because I know that 144 is a frequency, and I know how many higher ups are pissed off that I knew that. I walked into a group of men that are, I don't know, they think they're pretty in a bit, but really you just, spiritually, yeah, you're so, sorry I walked in and said about the 144. I even had people across YouTube attacking, oh, the bullying I've received. May no one that did that to me experience the same, because it was awful. I had to experience complete and utter rejection and not give a fuck anyway, because people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And how dare a little white girl walk into their conversation and try to say 144 is a frequency that we have to reach to be able to get back out of here. Think about it. Sorry. In Australia, we're under no illusions of our government and what the situation is there. I mean, some people are, and some people think they can get into it and make a better world. And I'm hoping to believe that that's the truth, and it's got to be, because the people who were born in the 2000s, 2020, even late 1990s, 1980s, I'm hoping we're able to go back as far as the 70s, but we'll see. If their indoctrination hasn't been strong enough. But no, we've got like people with ADHD, autism in their 60s and their 70s. And also we've got Parkinson's disease. So I was hearing this chick the other day. I was going to do a snitch thing, but I won't do that. But she was like, we've got these older people saying that autism and ADHD wasn't around in their day. Yeah, because when was it? 1940, they started fluorinating the water, and they started putting metals into our bodies at high rates, and everything we eat has got trace metals. And people say, oh, trace metals can't hurt you. Yeah, but it's fucking daily. They are pounding these on us, trace metals. And now we've got Parkinson's disease at a ridiculous rate. And we've also got autism and ADHD, and that is metals. So we've got so much metal within our systems that this is what's happened. And we've adjusted. And it's a lot of those kids with ADD or ADHD that are the real game changers, and the kids with autism, because they're they're thinking differently. They're not thinking in the old paradigm of, oh, we got to stomp on this person so we can elevate. No, we can all elevate together, and that's the way it's going to be done. There is a utopian society that's required to be born. There are billions of dollars sitting in the stock exchange. Each of us have our own trust funds. Go send in your bill to your electricity company and they can go pick it up from the treasury for payment. All that's required is your acceptance. You write accepted. You don't need to write your birth certificate number so they can find you within the treasury. No, they can find you with your name. You just write accepted and you sign the promissory note. Optus won't give you a bill. They will only give you a receipt because they refuse to do that. But you're well within your rights to contact any company and request a bill. Optus seems to be the only one that refuses to give one. I don't know what the other telcos are like. I don't deal with them. I shouldn't even be dealing with Optus, but part of the gang stalking thing was a monitoring thing that they wanted to do with my phone, because when I was getting text messages to reset my phone, it was coming up with a different number that I didn't have any access to. And I was like, why? For over a year, I couldn't get this number removed, and finally I got it removed. But because of my credit rating, which was destroyed, and my licenses disappearing, like this is all shit that has happened to me. I didn't have any ID. Court cases have been run in people's names and they haven't represented themselves, and they've been oh my gosh, I'm not alone. There's some real corrupt motherfuckers and they think that they're untouchable, but what they're not realizing is they are. And it's not by me and people like me that you've tried to take the lives of for the sake of, putting a few bucks in everybody's pockets at the expense of one individual. It's there's only so many of you corrupt mofos, and the force for good that has worked amongst you will be your undoing. Okay? And people like me who survived the whole trap and came out and went, you fuckwits, rather than going rocking in a corner, like the expectation is that we sound insane when we discuss what's happened to us. We're not able to mentally cope with the absolute evils and atrocities that we've been put in, and we end up in a mental home. No, I'm just going to say, are you gaslighting me, are you? And let you play it out. Because I've come to know, rejected, whatever, people are only ever going to meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And you know what sucks? I tried to say it before. I don't know if this is what has happened to individuals that I was supposed to connect with, but basically an individual reached out to me, seemed very genuine, but was also like he was a warlock. And I was like, oh, I think I recognize your energies from last time you tried to fuck around with me 2 years ago. You've just got a new Facebook profile and anyway. And you're trying to play my energies again because came into contact, actually gave him the time of day and was like, wow, oh, excuse me for having my walls up. I've just never had anybody be that kind. So, but I did lower the walls a little bit. Next morning, I was attacked and nearly killed. Like just from just lowering the guard that much. It didn't happen. As a woman of my age, did it traumatize me? Did I wet my pants? Did I suffer? Did I have a humiliation? I survived it. I will always survive. And that person will never have access to my energies ever again. You're a dangerous motherfucker. But so am I. Anyway, but that's real. But my concern is that what if I didn't recognise his, because it's an energy signature, I know who he is. It's the same one, Peter Balby from, oh, said your name. Sue me. You owe that girl who feeds all the cockatoos, because of your connections that you're able to get to attack me. Oh, don't worry, I'm well aware that it had a lot to do with a New South Wales section of relatives I've got. Like, I know how ridiculous it got. I do. However, you, as somebody who has as much pull to be able to put me through so much hell, get that lady a budget and an area within the shires in the outer suburbs, so say we're talking Baronia, to feed those cockatoos instead of culling them like you did, like was organised back in 2010. That's an awful, evil thing to do to birds. They can all be fed. They don't need to eat people's balconies. And there's a woman in Baronia at the moment that's feeding them all. She should be able to be given a massive budget to be able to look after those birds, because effectively what she's doing and dedicating herself to out of her heart can be paid for and can be placed in, she can move it probably up to the quarry or something like that and feed all those cockatoos and save all the people their balconies that are getting eaten, which she's half doing anyway, but there's a lot of cockatoos. That culling that was done in 2010, I don't know if it's been done since, but it's unacceptable. And if you've got so much political pull, it's your responsibility to ensure, because you've used her to bully me as well, it's your responsibility to give her funding to be able to help those cockatoos, and maybe you can start recompensing some of that evil that you've been trying to spread across the world, and maybe you won't have to look in the mirror and hate yourself every time you see yourself because you're so disgusted at who you are as a person, because you're beautiful on the inside. I know you are. And I felt your energy straight away. Like, I know you're in a lot of pain, mate. I know you got issues, and I can't help them, and I will not be the victim to them. Okay? But help that lady feed those cockatoos and make a start at being a better person. So you don't have to tell people in the hospital system that you want to neck yourself and they say, go ahead and do it. I don't know if you were looking for sympathy from me, but Mama didn't raise no fool. She was pretty heartless herself. But the infinite beingness of who you are, who we are as souls. You didn't go around trying to bully women. You didn't go around trying to destroy them. You were doing that before I pushed you away. Very publicly, politely said, back off out of my energies because I'm not appreciating the drain. Like, there's even wanker covens that go around manifesting by wanking off individuals. Oh gosh, the stories I could tell. Anyway, do better, be better, and I've got so much more I could. But yeah, how dare you come into my energy and then have me attacked in a place where I am supposed to feel safe? Are you actually a soul that I should be friends with? No, I see you. Stop it. Stay away from my energy. Don't send me messages going, hey, beautiful, how you going? Because you ain't going to get nothing from me. I did make it quite clear in the kind message I sent to you, even if I don't speak to you for another 2 years, It's because the last time I spoke to you was 2 years before that. Now you've got a new profile and you're pretending to be someone else. And it's like the man that tried to humble me. Like somebody first saying, which I've already got a whole video response to the original guy going, have you found your soulmate yet? This other guy, because I'm Pisces moon, I can have a whole relationship done, finished and ended in my own mind. Don't even need you involved. Like, invited me on a date and I got these options and I'm like, wow, botanical gardens, I got a tree, I go down there and hug. So, and then I'm like, yeah, and I was picturing myself walking around with this like cartoon knight, you know, like it's better than page energies anyway, but it's a knight. Like, I like the approach and it made me smile and it made me giggle. So it didn't take away, like the fact that he was trying to humble me and say, look at how stuck up you are, you're rejecting me, you know, because he showed me, he put up a picture of, I'll go, oh, I'm not frightened at all, because he put up a picture that was opposite, like 2 years earlier he'd done similar, like, you know, trying to make me look like a fuckwit. It's been on the regular for a lot of these fuckwits. Humble the chick, because I don't know, we rich ho? Are we rich ho? Like when the life insurance policy was there, we rich ho anyway. Like, yeah, the evidence is there to back up what I say. Anyway, transformation will occur naturally. And yeah. Anyway, this guy that came in today and he was like, you got these 3 options. And I'm like, wow, man, I haven't had dates since I was 25 and I took like a real date. I think I went on that Tinder. Oh, gosh. Sorry, bunch. Half of you were, anyway, nothing to even say anything about there. Like, just lost cause. I think if you were the type of chick that was happy to put out and just, you know, like it would work out great, but some dangerous energies on there anyway. Stay fucking safe, girls. Stay away from Tinder. Proper date since I was 25. That's where I was going with this. And he was like, I could take you for a stroll through the gardens and we could, you know, what weirded me out was like our passionate energies, like as if we had some sort of existing relationship. And I was like, oh, but you're a cartoon dude, you know, and you had red hair and freckles last time we spoke, which is cool. Like, I've got nothing wrong with red hair and freckles. We used to tease my cousin when we were little and call him a redheaded to anything except the bullying, and that's why I blocked this guy 2 years ago. But anyway, turns up again and puts forward to me this offer, and I was like, oh wow, like let me indulge, because I haven't been out anywhere special forever. So I was like, he's given me 3 options: the botanical gardens to go for a stroll, and then some weird like shit afterwards, like acting like he knew me and weird. But I went for the stroll, but I was picturing walking around with cartoon, like, because it's a cartoon photo. And that was cool in my mind, like definitely cartoon. Yeah. Walking around with a knight wearing a cartoon costume in the botanical gardens was my envision. I went and had the date, done. Oh, just who the fuck, mate? And then, or someone that, you know, and then he was like advocating for himself and just being such a cutie. And then he sent through a pic and it was totally opposite. Like, he had brown hair now and he was tanned. And I'm like, don't you remember the picture of yourself you had? You know, and it's just like, fuck off your fake energies. But I knew it was fake. And I said, thank you for the date anyway, because I'd taken it. You know, I was like, far out. That's awesome. I've had some beautiful times in that botanical gardens, and not just at the dance parties around the bowl. Like, I studied naturopathy when I was younger, so we like had to go around to all the plants, and I found the magnolia plants, and we did tinctures from it, and it was flower essences. So if you've heard of Australian flower essences, I actually do flower essences, and yeah, they are remedies that can alter your state of being, and take them regularly. I mean, have a look at it. Look up Australian flower essences, and yeah, if you ever want a remedy concocted or anything like that, I do that. I don't offer it, but there's a lot of my services I don't offer, which is silly, really, which is silly. So yeah, you will see the Kai Crystal website go back up. It's under reconstruction at the moment, and better products to put in the store. Anybody out there is going through dark night of the soul, I still offer, but via email, you're able to reach out and get in contact if you want that spiritual session. I had people that I had to beg, and they were looking at my energy like I was trash, and it was covered in trash at that point in time. So I understand now. I actually understand what happened, and I don't blame them for looking at me like I was trash when I was covered in soot. You know, like, people can't see your energies when they've been clouded in energies that are not you. I don't know if that guy tried to humble me today, but thank you for the date and the offer. Unable to prevent anybody else's life from flowing, and it'll be really liberating when those that have been forced into mental prisons and placed in hospitals where they don't belong, when that switch happens and the crazy people who put them there actually get placed in these hospitals where they belong for being fucking nuts and trying to do that to people, that'll be the game changer. Unless we're able to just clean up these energies by acknowledging that they come from a very dark place, and their entities and energies, call it powers, principalities, whatever you like, but they are the darkness of this world, the archons that are working through people to mess with divine beings. And I've heard people say, oh, with spiritual, with gang stalking, it's all in your mind. Like, there's nothing bad, it's in your mind, like you're being spiritually attacked. Yeah, there are those spiritual attacks, and you can feel the chaotic energy around you when you're no longer controlled by chaotic energy because you've worked above it, because you've had it thrown at you so much. But you can visually see it playing out in front of you. But saying that it's all in your own mind, it ain't in your own mind when you've actually got receipts, because people are getting so sloppy and thinking they're so untouchable in regards to it. Because it's not like, oh, I think I'm being followed, I think this, I think, I don't give a fuck. Come watch me pee for all I care. I ain't changing the way I live, I ain't changing what I do, because you're listening and trying to get, like, I'm talking a human size wings, and you guys put like I don't know, would you put there an owl? Like, I heard an owl flapping. That ain't nothing. Get me, like, human size wings. That's what I heard while I was outside having a cigarette. Shut myself, because, like, literally sitting where I was in an enclosed area, and the sound that those wings were in proximity to me would have been within a metre. So I didn't hang around and find out what it was. I went straight inside and was like, what the fuck? And that could have been something amazing. It also could have been the end of me. Could have been, oh my gosh, a giant bird. What was that, you know? Oh, also, I did see an orb outside. And then I've heard other people speaking of orbs, and we become orbs after we pass, because we're no longer we're no longer the body. You know, the body stays. But I saw an orb. So did I see like a fairy with the elementals, or are we talking, when I say an orb, it was a light, and the person I was with was like, it's a firefly, and I'm like, but fireflies don't exist on our earth either. They don't. But it was just this little orb. And somebody who's actually crossed over and been brought back, and said, because apparently she didn't see Jesus, because Jesus is Henry Bourget, and it's an illusion that we've been spread, and we have actually been informed, don't worship false idols. So, I mean, all of the information's there, but I find I stay away from the Bible and the tricks and the Psalms and things like that, only for the reason of I don't want to actually be affected by anybody trying to throw that at me. And successfully I've been able to avoid that, and also because it's a matrix mind trap to believe in it, because it was all created to trap you. And whilst there might be truths and revelations and stuff like that, as like those fires that we saw in California in the middle of winter, apparently it's unveiled some sort of underground coven that was working out of there, that was being watched. But I mean, why don't they go get the guy in the mountains that's putting all the light workers in his bowls? After I said that last time, yeah, because he contacted me and wanted me to, I don't know what he was about to offer. I think he was about to offer me a holiday, so I offered him one first and said I'd pay everything, don't even worry about it, it's all taken care of. And this wizard was like, and I know he's a wizard because he was a wanker from the wanker coven, he even told me. And he, in fact, he got on my energies and was affecting me, and my ancestors and my spiritual protection got pushed away after I'd revealed all this information to him. Very next week afterwards, I had some guy walking down the street, like this is really when the ganging and the try to make this girl feel insecure and victimized. I mean, how many people did I piss off? And it's like, I've gone through life not intending to piss anybody off, but I've upset some guy who was a wizard. There was this other guy who was, and these are, I've got, it's not imagination when you've got footage. It's not in your mind. It's like these situations really happened. And why did they happen? This guy was walking behind as if he had a gun. Like, was it to make me feel intimidated? Was putting walkers that just don't belong in my area as witnesses, and scissors down on the playground that we picked up, but I was supposed to be alone. I never would have picked up those scissors if it had been me, but I had somebody with me. And yeah, the whole thing was intimidation. But I mean, I had really rough looking people walking, like drug addicts that looked like they could have been paid $200 to go, you know, hurt somebody, appear in my area as well. And I had my phone call people without calling people. I was on a live to watching this girl that I thought was great, but she thought, oh, it's fucked. And I didn't realize her intimidation there. Like I just placed her so high up on a pedestal that I couldn't believe she wasn't kind back, and a bit like, oh, you know, because like she was so, in my eyes, I thought she was so high above me, but she wasn't, as it turned out. It's kind of like that chick whose ex-boyfriend broke her down and humiliated her by bringing another girl in and marrying her in front of her, like just showed her humility She's human, you know. She's only human, and safer waters. Might stay away from speaking about her actually, but yeah, it's energies like that that are making progress for other people that deserve to have their voices heard. They're making it hard for other people, and it's ridiculous. And when you see even so starseeds going through a lot across the planet, we're talking like primordial starseeds that have a lot of information and activations that are required, and justice will be served for them this year. This is the year of 9. That you can crawl around on your belly, but you're going to feed both that wolf, and there's going to be no more denial of the wolf you're feeding, and you are going to have to come to grips with both wolves. Anyway, moving on.